Welcome everyone to this webinar for the new proof of concept call in AI, quantum technologies, and ICT. We have Amy Loutfi and Johansson with us also this morning. Amy is the director of the WASP program, and Göran is the director of the WACQT program. So, Amy, maybe you can start with a little bit of high-level intro, and then Göran also just a couple of welcoming words, and then I will jump into the presentation specifically related to the proof of concept call.
Sure, yes, and I'll of course be brief, but from the WASP perspective, I mean, this kind of opportunity is fantastic, and we're really happy that KAW is giving the chance for us to leverage and lift from the strong research that is being done and bring some of these ideas to the next stage. And we've been talking for some time about the importance of there being innovations that are coming not only in the area of artificial intelligence, but also in the areas that are kind of tangent to AI that we see happening within WASP. So we really hope to see a lot of applications. We're really looking forward to seeing what kind of ideas are emerging and to encourage and lift them as much as possible. And then I also want to say, for some of you who are perhaps already part of the WASP community, that we are working more with areas that are connected to entrepreneurship. There will be sort of an internal group that will try and self-organize now during 2026. So this opportunity that is occurring now with the proof of concept sort of fits into our larger ambitions with working with innovations, entrepreneurship, and making sure that the program has impact.
Thank you, Amy. Absolutely.
I'll pass it over to you, Sandor.
Thank you. Göran, I mean, last year, at least when it comes to the proof of concept grants, many of them was coming from quantum. So it seems that the quantum technologies has started to get like an innovation hub and then startups in quantum. So how do you see that? And then also you're part of the process now for a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm very happy about this, and it's really I mean, now there is a upcoming funding from the government for quantum, and that we have a growing ecosystem is a really good sign. I note that most of the startups coming out of quantum so far have been hardware. So it's interesting if we'll see something more software related this year. Yeah, that would be really interesting. Yeah, no, it's a very exciting and inspiring process. So I'm very happy about this.
Thank you, Amy and Göran. And then, of course, we should mention probably that cross-pollination is very important. So we know that between WASP and then DDLS, WASP and WISE, and then some other big programs, there are, lots of calls which are common. So that's definitely, if you have any questions, that is it a life science call related or a material science call or an AI call, please contact me or contact us, and then we can, help and guide you where to apply for you. So having all said that, let's jump into then to the presentation about this very specific call. And some of you might probably have seen some of the slides, but I think repetition is mother of knowledge. And then if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. And then also we will have a chance to have questions after that. We really would like to make it very interactive. So one of the reasons of this webinar is that we will answer your questions. So the very most important, and then you will see this these dates in the presentation. That most important is that this grant specifically was opened on Monday, and then this will be open until March 25th. So you still have time to think about it and then to do the application. The Knut and Wallenberg Foundation is one of the largest private funders of scientific research in Europe. Last year only was 2.5 billion SEK awarded in grants. And then since 1917, more than 100 years ago, 40 billion SEK grants going into basically through a Swedish academy to basic science. And then the foundation's charter is very important, is that it's really for the benefit of Sweden. And then it's really how we can create a knowledge-based society, how we can leverage all the good work what is done with the foundations, and then of course with the portfolio companies in the Wallenberg sphere, how it can be put back into academia and in basic research, mainly within medicine, technology, and natural science, and long-term grants with excellent individual research and research projects. And then, of course, we have strategy projects and then the big programs where you're working on. I think it's good to understand or remind ourselves that this is the strategy of the foundation as such. Again, basic science, long-term freedom to the researcher, so there's no strings attached. Also very important, the competence development, either via recruiting people from outside of Sweden, also how they can benefit from the postdocs, and then having scholarships for them as well, and then how they can stay in the Swedish academic environment and ecosystem. And in the last couple of years, innovation became more and more also a focus and part of the strategy. And basically the instruments for this innovation strategy pillar is the proof of concept grant. Just a reminder again that 4 main grant types coming out from the foundation: the individual grants, the strategic projects, the strategic program grants like the WASP and the WACQT program, and then all the others ones. And then the proof of concept, which probably was not so much on the surface and not known since the last couple of years, but it has started in 2017 by Johansson at the beginning in a very ad hoc way, but now more and more we started to get more processes and then a more systemic way. And then now I can tell you that we had 139 grants so far, only proof of concept grants, 139 awarded since 2017. So we really started to have seen a good progress there as well. Again, just to give us the canvas and the map that how the strategic grants are, and many of them, the affiliated researchers and PhD students and postdocs are. This is the map of all the main programs. Green ones are related to material science. The red ones are related to more to life science, and then the blue ones are basically the quantum ICT, and then obviously the AI, autonomous systems and software systems ones, complemented in mathematics, for example. As you could see that the foundation is really encouraging to have cross-pollination between these science fields and strategy programs. And from an innovation perspective, from a technology transfer perspective, I absolutely encourage you to reach out to your peers, because this is when magic can happen, when the different science fields, for example, when it comes to AI or in quantum, you see from life science, you see from material science that how it can be beneficial to you, what else you can do, and then how it can really enable and foster your research there. So specifically the proof of concept grants, as I mentioned, 139 grants since 2017. It's 466 million SEK worth was awarded for this grants. The main purpose of the proof of concept grant is really helping the scientist to transfer out and then to gap basically to gap between a research prototype and how you can create a more industrial prototype, a minimum viable product. How we can help the scientist to be investment ready from a technology readiness perspective. That's the main goal with this grant. This grant, just like all the grants from the foundation, go through the university. So who are eligible for this? The people who are somehow in a way affiliated with any of the Wallenberg foundations, KAW, and then of course it could be the other ones like MAW, for example, and then other foundations as well. And then they are hired by the Swedish university, so they have a full-time job there. The project, the proof of concept project, could be awarded between 1 and 4 million SEK over a period over 2 years max. And now, since last year, we have 3 annual calls. 3 calls which are coming probably the same time, not probably the exact same date, but in the same period. One in life science, one in material science, and then one in AI quantum technologies or ICT. As you could see, that 2 cores are open at the moment, parallel to the AI and quantum and ICT. We have the life science call also open, so you have an opportunity. If you have a cross-pollinated idea with life scientists, you can choose where to put your application. It's important to mention that you cannot apply to both with the same idea, so you have to make a decision where you send in your application. And the material science call is always open in the fall, so it's usually between 1st of September and then 15th of October. So there's a chance for all those ideas which are cross-pollinated between AI and material science, or quantum and material science, that you can think about that you apply to that during the fall. Very important that beside the work, what we have at the foundation, and then what kind of this proof of concept grant can give to the researchers, the Wallenberg ecosystem wanted to create also like a full innovation system for the KAW researchers. One part of this is that we have during the process, and you will see it in a little bit more detail, that we have a Wallenberg Launchpad, which is really helping the scientist to, how can I say, to evolve or to upskill themselves beside being a very successful researcher, how you can start to be a very successful innovator, and then how you can move towards entrepreneurship. So we have like a coaching a platform which is helping you to be prepared for the different phases of the application process, but also we can help you during the proof of concept project. More than that, again, no strings attached. There's an opportunity in the Wallenberg ecosystem. There's a new company was formed called Navigar Ventures about 4 years ago, specifically to invest very, very early pre-seed, seed, and then VC investment only in science-based innovation. So when your proof of concept is successful, when you are investment ready, then there's an opportunity, again, no strings attached, there's an opportunity within the Wallenberg sphere where you can continue the commercialization journey, and then you can continue the innovation journey with some other means, which is basically now outside of the academia, and then it's more like in the real life for the entrepreneurs there. Very important to mention, just like in all cases or in most of the cases when it comes to the investments of the Wallenberg sphere, all profit from Navigar Ventures goes back to the foundations. So basically goes back to the researchers via the grants what the KAW provides. So this is the overall process of this grant. It's a little bit different than just a usual research grant process. So the first phase is very obvious. This is the application period. This is when you apply. This is when you're creating the applications. This is where we go out and then raising awareness, for example, with this webinar. And personally, I will be at Chalmers February 5th when I can meet, and then I will have a presentation. And then also there will be an opportunity to have one-on-one meetings with me. And then I will be Norrköping on February 11th, hosted by the MIT department. Again, meeting in person with the scientists. So if you have any questions or ideas you would like to bounce around, then I will be there in person in those days and in the 2 universities. Yesterday, I was at Umeå and I met some of you already there. And then if you have more questions, again, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm more than happy to again, help you and answer that as well. So that's the application period. We have an expert panel, a review board, which is helping the foundation to make a priority among the applicants and then applications, and then basically advise the foundation's leadership team to select couple of applications, less than 20 usually, who goes to the next phase, goes to the coaching phase. And then here in the coaching phase, we have coaches, myself, Johanna Björklund, and then also Robert Rehamar, who are helping the scientist to get, again, the mindset, to get the strategy and the presentations a little bit aligned, what is needed. So try to get the mindset out from a scientific presentations and a scientific value creation into more innovation, storytelling, and then how and where you can have the impact in society and so on. So there is a coaching period, and then there's a pitch, which is basically deciding in front of a pitch team that who is going to get the grant. I can say that on an average, we have about a 30%, 25-30% success rate from all the applications coming into the process than the ones who are getting the grant. So it's not a very, or I would say this is a very good success rate compared to other research grants, for example, in the EU, when you have a 3% or 4% success rate. And then the majority of the work starts in the research validation projects when you get the grant through the university, when you will basically start and then working the projects. Important to mention is that if needed, you can reach back to the coaches, and then we can also support you during your R&D progress, and then helping with how you can climb up in the technology readiness level. And then obviously we can help you to find connections into the Wallenberg sphere if that needed. Just more details than what you can spend the grant on. Again, between 1 and 4 million SEK up to 24 months. We have checkpoints, not every 6 months. We have only 2 checkpoints, one a midterm review, and then at the end you will have a final presentation, and that's the only overhead. That's the only reporting what we have for this grant. So again, you will have a midterm review, which is basically helping you to understand how far you progressed with your project. Do you have any new opportunities? Did you have to pivot? Do you have any obstacles? So it's just the checkpoint, and then at the end, how far you got, and then what basically you could deliver, and then what are the opportunities to move on when as an entrepreneur, or how you can move on having as a commercialization part. The grant cannot be used for covering costs for patent applications or business development. This is very important. It's due to the charter of the foundation. So for that, we are encouraging you to reach out to the innovation offices at the university, because they have also soft funding via the innovation ecosystem, the Swedish innovation ecosystem, and they can help you with patent cost or early market review, and then some other parts as well. Everything which is legal via the university, you can use the funding as usual, and then it could be salary for project members. You can hire new people. It could be researchers, it could be lab assistants, it could be data scientists. It's really up to you what the project needs. You can spend it on infrastructure. You can buy hardware if you need, software license if you need. Travel cost can be also a part of this, and special equipment or lab space. I would say that when it comes to the AI part, I don't think so that you will have that, unless it's again a cross-pollination with life science and material science. Then I can imagine that, let's say you need some microscopes or something that it's very important, DNA sequencing. Definitely in the quantum space, you can have, you can spend money on clean room and then other things which is needed, a special lab, but not for just generic office rent. I mean, that's part of, I guess, the indirect cost in the university. Important to mention is that just like every KAW grant, we are during the or via this grant as well, up to 20% of the university indirect cost can be covered in your total budget. The application and evaluation criteria. The application is basically very straightforward. You need a project descriptions, which is not longer than 10 pages long. In the call text, you have a very detailed guideline, what kind of chapters and then what kind of content we are looking forward. One page project page, a complete budget based on the foundation's Excel sheet, CVs, and then a certificate from the head of department that you got the support for the co-financing of the overhead or the indirect cost from the university. And then, very important that that you have also verification of interest from external parties, which is basically verifying that you understand there's a persistent problem outside there. There's in society or in some of the industry segments, you understand where the pain points are, and then your hypothesis that the solutions, what you have, the innovations, what you have in your hand, is actually addressing that. And then they are interested. They would be interested to try out your proof of concept. This verification of interest is not binding in any way. It's not like legally or economically binding. It's really just showing that you went out, you moved out from the lab. You understand that there's a need of your hypothetical solution, and then that there's an interest from a certain parties there. The evaluation criteria is, again, very straightforward. I would say that the potential for sustainable solutions is very, very important in the material science cases. And then obviously this is also beneficial for AI cases and quantum cases if you could show that how, for example, the global UN goals you are related to do. But other than that, it's very important that you understand that where your core of your innovation is, so the solution is well defined, and then you understand that what is your uniqueness from a research and scientific perspective, but also uniqueness as an innovation, as a solution, as a system. As I said, the interest from external partners. When it comes to IP and intellectual property, we do not require that you already patented things, but it was very, very important that you consciously and strategically think about that you have to do some kind of protection. Again, you need this for two purposes. One of them is that how you protect, and then how you clarify that your intellectual property, which is not only patent, but also all the software code, for example, what you have, how you can be used for commercial purposes. Moreover, this is very important that you have, and then you can prove later, especially when you're looking for venture capital or when you're talking to potential customers, that you have a freedom to operate, so you're not infringing others' intellectual property. So this is why what we require is at least you have a plan. Is it a patent? If it's an open source, what kind of license? Do you have a secret source and open source? Start to think about how you're going to enable your research results, whatever you have in your hand, that you can also spin it out, transfer it out from an IP perspective. And then this grant is not something that we require, or we don't require detailed plans. We require on the opposite, we really would like to understand and then help you to define what is the delta between your research prototype and then your industrial prototype. What are the features? Is it robustness? Is it scalability? Is it some new type of feature what you have? So you really understand the work packages, what you're delivering. And according to that content, you have the adequate team, and then you have the adequate time plan and the budget. When it comes to the pitch, as I mentioned, it's not a VC pitch per se, and then it's not a scientific presentation either. This is in between. You really have to kind of present that where the science is there, and then what you have that as a background. But what you have to highlight there again is that what is your uniqueness, what is the innovation here, and then what are the hypotheses where you're making an impact. And then basically very similar to the structure of your application, written application. You present this in 25 minutes in front of the pitch team. So that's the WALT pitch. So the dates and then the process again. The call is open since Monday. The call will be closed in March 25. Review panel results will be in the beginning of May, so you will understand if you go to the next phase or not. Coaching sessions will be during May and June, and then our latest plan in really pushing this for that decision. It will be the first week of July or the last week of June. So basically, before the summer vacations, you will know if you are successful and then you can get the grant or not. All informations and the call text, you can find it on the WASP homepage, and then I'm pretty sure that you have information also on the WACQT homepage as well. So suggested next steps then, I guess, just go out and then talk to your peers, and then or just think about that, what is the goal, and then well-defined value creating work packages, and then the milestones. So where you are making a value, to whom you are making a value, go out and then reach out to external parties. Define what is your differentiator, what is the core of the innovation, and then what is the delta between the research prototype and the industry prototype. When it comes to the milestones, I would like to highlight is that it's not just a new piece of code or it's a new piece of prototype is important, because it's still a research grant. We are more than welcome to receive new publications. So this is a very important artifact that you also think about. If I do a scalability, if I do something like a robustness, or if I have a new feature, maybe that's also will be a new publication. And then especially if you have PhD students and postdocs in your project, that's also very beneficial for them. And then if you feel like it, please contact your innovation office to get support related to IP questions, and then also maybe do parallel your application process or parallel in the potential proof of concept project. They can help you with market verification and then some business related questions. And then also here, last but not least, we have also, of course, the application portal is available at the KAW homepage. So by that, thank you very much for your attention so far, and we are open to all the questions what you have. So please, I think we can open up for the question and answers.